conservative, the patriotic poet, and this is Conservative Coliseum Volume 2. I just want to share a quick fact with y'all real quick. Do you know if you spent $1 million for every day since the good Lord walked the earth, you still couldn't equal up to all the money Obama spent in his first 6 months? How about we use some common sense like Glenn Beck's book? Cause right now our government is being run by crooks. If you take a closer look, this is what you'll see. Democrats not synonymous with democracy, and I'm sick of Republicans' hypocrisy. That's why I live by conservative philosophies. You see, your fairness doctrine ain't stopping me, cause people from coast to coast keep copping my CD. Much more accurate than watching TV. I tell the truth in audio while they lie in 3D. But that's not me, I live and die for this nation. Obama's already bankrupted our future generations. Patriotic poet, that's my occupation. I speak the truth to the masses, it's my obligation. Right now I feel that the biggest complication is the left-wing liberal indoctrination. The media's filled with liars, no thanks, I already have a messiah. It's high caliber, but only God can take you higher. Let's take our country back before it burns in the fire. Come on. The media's filled with liars, no thanks, I already have a messiah. It's high caliber, but only God can take you higher. Let's take our country back before it burns in the fire. Why are the liberals so anti-Christian? When somebody speaks the word of God, they refuse to listen. What a contradiction, something is missing. That's why I'm on a mission to stop the crucifixion. We gotta stop electing these crooked politicians, cause every day they put us in a bad position. Obama's decisions are making us weaker, and Nancy Pelosi is probably the worst speaker of the House. We gotta vote these bums out. 2012, we will take back the White House. And I'm not talking about some Republican stooge. We need a true conservative for the red, white, and blue. First thing we gotta do is let the government know that the people are in control. They're the ones running the show. Stop wasting our dough, you reap what you sow. The leadership in our country's at an all-time low. Yo, the media's filled with liars, no thanks, I already have a messiah. It's high caliber, but only God can take you higher. Let's take our country back before it burns in the fire. The media's filled with liars, no thanks, I already have a messiah. It's high caliber, but only God can take you higher. Let's take our country back before it burns in the fire. When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. No doubt. Big shout out to all the Tea Party organizers and Tea Party goers out there. True patriotic Americans exercising their freedom of speech. And a crazy big shout out goes out to the conservative warrior princess, Monica Crowley. Gotta vote these bums out in 2010.
I can see a street where the dreamers walk free, where they don't gun you down for giving some piece a chance. And I can see a table where my brothers all sit equal, to find war makes no real lasting difference. But I can only imagine a peaceful place to live. I can only imagine, just like John Lennon did. So I'll just dream on, say a prayer for the kids, 'cause I can only imagine, just like John Lennon did. Just like John Lennon did. And I can see a world governed by the laws of love, where the business of compassion thrives. It's gonna take some kind of revival for any chance of survival. For now I'll just take your hand in faith and close my eyes, 'cause I can only imagine a peaceful place to live. I can only imagine, just like John Lennon did. So I'll just dream on, say a prayer for the kids. But I can only imagine, just like John Lennon did. Just like John Lennon did. In 67 a song unified the world. Maybe a little cliche to hear it again today. Well, if you ask him now, I think he'd sadly concede. 'Cause after all these years, love is still all you need. I can only imagine. I can only imagine a peaceful place to live. I can only imagine, just like John Lennon did. So I'll just dream on, say a prayer for my kids. 'Cause I can only imagine, just like John Lennon did. Just like John Lennon did. Thank you. I think that was
You're listening to Kyle Warren.
Hi, everybody. This is Bill. Hey, listen, I just... You knew I was going to chime in on this at some point, and, well, that day has come. I've now chimed in on the healthcare thing, and I'm saying what so many other people are saying, and I have proclaimed, and, I still retain the authority to make proclamations. So here it is, and that is Obama, you need to honor the commitment. Now, you said something else, but I didn't hear it. A lot of people didn't hear it. And, well, what can I say? The time has come. Honor the commitment. Guess what, folks? The sky's falling. By the way, love the show.
By the way, love the show. Hey, that's real nice. Welcome everyone around the globe and across the net. Kyle Warren with you. That's our own fake Bill Clinton, actually mirroring, well, essentially. I don't know about the sky is falling or making proclamations or something like that. But here on this Tuesday edition, November the 12th of 2013, we have the following audio from Bill Clinton. Talking about the idea that Obama needs to honor the commitments that he made to the American people. Now, I guess Bill Clinton did not hear Obama say what we said was, if you like your health care plan, you can keep it. I guess Clinton did not hear Obama say such a thing. He said, if you like your health care plan, you can keep it. If you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. If you like your health plan, everything about it, nobody's going to do anything in order to take it away. Again, this was the bedrock. This is the foundation of the reason why the health care law passed at all. So, Bill Clinton was talking on, is it Ozy.com, OZY.com? And he was being interviewed about this. He didn't look too happy, but maybe he looked a little, I think he's just feeling our pain. I think Bill Clinton is feeling our pain about this. And see, here's the deal. Bill Clinton knows and Hillary knows they cannot run on Obamacare. They can't run on any success of Obamacare, which, by the way, numbers will come out, I think, this Friday, and it's going to be less than 50,000. But not even those less than 50,000 people are actually people that have even paid for a health care plan or actually signed up. These may be people that have a health care plan in their shopping cart. And maybe they put it in their shopping cart and then they logged off the site, or the site crashed, or they're not coming back, or whatever. And so I don't know. I mean, if you're an online retailer and somebody puts something in the shopping cart but then never returns or logs out or turns off their computer or goes somewhere else or just leaves the screen and never returns, is that a sale, or is it when they put in their credit card and then they make the sale and you ship them the product? Is that a sale, or is it, I guess it's going to be determined by what it means to be signed up for health care. It might mean, see, and even Bill Clinton wouldn't go that far, and he's not going that far. In fact, Bill Clinton is actually trying to, I think, clarify the issue here, because he knows, Hillary knows, they can't run on Obamacare. Many of the senators that are going to be in competitive elections, they know they're not going to be running on Obamacare. We have another Democrat representative saying that Obama grossly lied or grossly misrepresented Obamacare. All of this is true. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows that we're looking at millions of people, not just some 5%. It's interesting, everybody jumped on Romney for his perceived, meanings behind the 47% and this kind of stuff, and how bad and wrong and evil that was. But then suddenly it's okay just to disregard 5% of the American people. Well, I promised it to 95%. No, you didn't. You promised it to everybody. I don't know what part of you like. If you like your plan, you can keep it. If you like your doctor, you can keep it. Keep your doctor, and nobody's going to do anything to take it away. I don't know what that has to do with canceling millions of healthcare plans, throwing the industry into a tailspin, throwing people's lives, more importantly so, into a tailspin, especially as we approach the holiday season. And President Obama is telling us, well, don't worry, you'll like it eventually. Don't worry, you'll be better off. I mean, I don't know who's writing this stuff at the White House, but whoever is doing that, it ain't playing across the highways and byways of the land. The American people, Republican and Democrat alike, are fed up with this. They have every right to be fed up with this. We have differences, and sometimes deep differences, on different political issues facing our nation. How do we spend the budget money? How do we collect the funds? How much taxes should we do? These kinds of things. All the different social issues that we talk about and that we have differences of opinion on in some cases. All those things, they're all still there. And America, this great experiment, this great ongoing experiment, we're always going to have very contentious issues of which we might disagree upon. We might disagree upon taxes. We might disagree upon the role of government in certain situations and so forth. All that is normal for the United States of America. This is what we do every single day. This is the churning of politics. Everybody knows that. But I think Republicans, Democrats, independents alike, libertarians, all the different folks all across the highways and byways of the land, they can agree upon, I believe, that the Obamacare rollout, first of all, is a disaster. Second of all, how the law was made was also a disaster. The effects of the law that we're seeing right now is a disaster. Real people are being affected by this, and it is not fair to the American people. President Obama was not candid in his description of what Obamacare was really going to be like, what was really going to happen to people. President Obama was not fair to the American people. They weren't allowed to make a fair choice about his health care law. That's not partisan. That's not racist. That's not anything like that. That is a simple viewing and reading of what is transpiring before our very eyes right now. It's just a simple fact of the matter. Whether people are liberal, whether they're conservative. The simple fact of the matter, unless you're a talking head on one of these panel discussions where your job is just to defend Obamacare. And you'll defend it until your very last breath, and no matter how insane it gets, you'll still find some reason to say, no, it's really good. It's actually really good. In fact, or you try to deflect. You deflect the whole thing. Well, people should have health insurance. Well, nobody's saying people shouldn't have health insurance. Goodness gracious me. And when it's rolled out like this, and when now we find out what's in it, back to the cliche Nancy Pelosi thing, we gotta pass it to find out what's in it. We are finding out what's in it. And it's no longer a cliche because it's actually affecting real people. Okay, let's hear a little bit of this interview President Clinton did on the Aussie.com website.
Third problem is for young people mostly, but not all young, who are in the individual market whose incomes are above 400% of the poverty level. They were the ones who heard the promise, if you like what you got, you can keep it. I met a young man this week who has a family, 2 children, bought in the individual marketplace. His policy was canceled and one was substituted for it that doubled his premium. Now, I asked him, I said, same coverage? He said, yeah. And I said, but are your co-pays and deductibles the same? He said, no, they're much, much lower. So he said, in the years when I use health care, I might actually save money. But he said, we're all young and we're all healthy. So I personally believe, even if it takes a change in the law, the president should honor the commitment the federal government made to those people and let them keep what they got.
Okay, there we have, and I don't know where the music came from, but there's definitely some music in there. I don't know if that helps make the point that President Clinton was making. Now, to be fair, before he said this, he's talking about, well, he thinks we need to have this law and so forth. That's hedging it, and I understand because he's a politician. Hillary's going to have some kind of health care reform overhaul to fix Obamacare. They don't want to say, no, we shouldn't have some big national health care law, but we got to do it the right way this time. So I think he's hedging it a bit, and he's just laying that foundation there. But generally speaking, for former President Clinton to come out and actually say that Obama needs to keep the commitment the federal government made, especially to the young people, you can keep your health care and so forth. This is huge. This is big time stuff. This is, as you heard our own fake Bill Clinton say earlier, the sky is falling. Well, I think the sky is falling for Barack Obama on this. There's just no way that he is going to be able to dig his way out of this. It's just not going to happen. You're not just talking about the healthcare law and its adverse effects on the population, but it's also the credibility of the presidency and of this particular president. And I just don't know how much worse it can possibly get. If this was a Republican president, now Bill Clinton earlier in that interview talked about George W. Bush, the expanded Medicaid, and they had a disastrous rollout, and people couldn't sign up easily, and they lost some of their prescription and so forth, for a time. He says, but they went and they fixed it. Well, here's the thing, though. This was not on a national level. Other people who had nothing to do with being on Medicaid were affected by that. They weren't seeing their policies canceled left and right. They weren't being literally kicked to the curb and told to go to an exchange where they are not able to even buy the insurance. And if they could buy the insurance, generally speaking, it's way too expensive. I mean, you've got to start asking yourself exactly what is going on here. People point to the conspiracy theorists. Oh, this is exactly what he wants, because he wants to get a single payer. And that could very well be true. And it doesn't sound so much like a conspiracy theory, does it? Because it seems like if you can ruin the healthcare industry virtually overnight, then you've created a new crisis. You can come in and say, here's the solution to this created crisis made by some bad actors out there in the insurance industry. But I got to tell you, people are just not buying that. They're not buying that all the insurance companies are now ruining our lives. No, it's Obamacare that's ruining our lives. Quite demonstrably so. It's Obamacare ruining our lives. Nobody is going to believe Barack Obama. Nobody believes, at least unless they are absolutely have Kool-Aid in their veins, they are not going to believe what Obama says pretty much about anything at this point. Because they realize that what happens is you go into this idea of diverting people, of trying to get them to, trying to distract them from some other thing, and so forth. It's just not going to work anymore. It's just not going to work. Let's hear a little bit of Charles Krauthammer talking about how this law was not necessarily crafted to get more people to have health insurance, but actually essentially to get people to get kicked off of their health insurance.
The Gulf oil spill, drip, and the president being utterly helpless, except that Obama is the one who drilled the well. And it is not outside of him. This is his doing, his signature achievement. I think as damaging as the website problems are, I think much more damaging is what his numbers are with people rating him on job approval and whether they have a favorable opinion of it. It has dropped like a stone. And the reason is he was caught in an obvious deception. The one thing he did in the interview last week that I think was not picked up on is the fact that he compounded it when he said, well, we're really sorry about all those people who've lost their insurance. It's because we didn't craft their law appropriately. That is precisely the opposite of the truth. He's done it again. All you had to do to craft the law appropriately is to have a line that would say, anybody who has insurance and likes it will keep it. That's no crafting at all. They crafted the law precisely in a complicated way in order to maximize the number of people who would lose insurance. So it's only if you had insurance before March of 2010. And even if you did, if there was any change in your insurance in the 3.5 years in between, say a $5 increase in your copay, that would throw you into the pool of people who would lose insurance. So the crafting was done precisely to throw people off insurance. And the president said exactly the opposite. This is one deception after another, and if it turns out that they can't get the website up by the end of the month, that's going to be another, it's not going to be called a deception, but that's going to be another announcement, another pledge or promise that is unfulfilled. And that, I think, is the real undoable damage. It's to the president himself.
Very interesting comments there from Charles Krauthammer at Fox News. Yes, the damage is being done to the president himself. I think you're going to hear more and more people begin to ask the question, can Obama govern legitimately, in the sense that when he goes out and makes the next speech that he makes and makes the next promise that he makes, that people are going to say, all right, yeah, fine, yeah, he's our leader, and we're just listening, and we're just going to believe what he says, and this kind of thing. Once you lose that credibility, I don't see how he gets it back. And we haven't even hit, really, the enormous number of people who are going to be losing their policies and not be able to replace that policy, except maybe they pay double. except maybe they pay even more than double in some cases. Also, the rampant fraud that we are going to be seeing, the identity theft stories that I think will be coming down the pike at some point here. All these different things. I mean, who's going to go on to healthcare.gov and put in all of their information when we know, we've actually heard the security holes and lapses and all these kinds of things, but yet you're compelled. You have to buy this kind of insurance. And it is absolutely a train wreck. We're not just watching it in slow motion. It's speeding up, folks. Okay, quick break. Back after this.
You're listening to Kyle Warren.
Education and advocacy are the keys to preventing heart disease in Americans. That's why Diet Coke has joined the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute for the Heart Truth Campaign to help women and their families recognize their risks for heart disease and take the necessary steps to prevent it. Registered dietitian Katie Cavuto-Boyle explains.
Many women have been touched by the Heart Truth message. Knowledge is power, but it's time to put that knowledge into action. In the kitchen, in the gym, in your life.
Any good heart-healthy tips for women?
It is so important to be mindful of your food choices, to include whole grains, a variety of fruits and vegetables. Choose a no-calorie beverage. As important as diet is, it's just as important to make a commitment to being more physically active. Whether it be a walk after dinner, sit-ups during the commercial of your favorite show, just get up and get moving. It all adds up.
To learn more about the Heart Truth Campaign and what you can do to stay fit and heart healthy, log on to dietcoke.com. I'm Bob Tebow for the Consumer Radio Network.
Congratulations! You've become a success in the business world. You've set goals, and you've surpassed them. But now you ask yourself, how can I muster the ambition and time to continue encouraging growth and still have time to enjoy life? Where did the excitement and ambition I once had go? That's where we come in. High-level performance. Executive coaches that, simply put, in 3 years could help you triple your income, triple your fun, and triple your free time. Find out more at highlevelperformance.com. That's highlevelperformance.com. Highlevelperformance.com.
After a long, hard day in the rough and tumble world of politics, open a tall, cool Kyle Warren show. Ah, that crisp, refreshing taste, that smooth style, that effervescing attitude, and without all that other stuff that can, well, bog you down. Helping to put back what the daily media assault takes away, listen to the Kyle Warren Show weekdays right here on this station and visit the website at kylewarrenshow.com. Is the Kyle Warren Show.
All right, now, people of the earth, this is your president, and you need to know in the healthcare chief commander, Barack Obama. Now, make no mistake and let me be clear. I don't care what Bill Clinton says. I don't care. 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 I don't care.
What's he caught in a loop?
I don't care. I just don't care. And really, I have a solution to all this. I have a solution, and that is I'm going to schedule a major speech, a major address on healthcare. I will reiterate what we said about you to keep your health plan if it hasn't changed. And I will read the fine print. There are several hundred pages of it, and I will read it all completely. All right? So that John Carl and continues, will that make you happy? Will it make you happy if I just read all the fine print all the time? All right? I will. Whatever. I'm out.
Whoa. Oh, okay. That's... Is he still going?
I don't care, I don't care, I don't care, I don't care.
Okay, all right, we get it. He doesn't care. He doesn't care what Bill Clinton says. I got to tell you, that's almost the weirdest call-in we've ever had, I think, from our own fake Barack Obama, and I really don't know, quite how to respond to that. It's possible that he doesn't care what Bill Clinton says. But you see, the chorus is getting bigger. And now that Bill Clinton has said this, that the federal government should honor its commitments, well, folks, that is probably the dam breaking at this point. And I think now, see, he's gone out and said it's okay to say live up to your commitment, and we may see a deluge right now of many Democrats worried about their jobs joining in.
You're listening to Kyle Warren.
Hi, folks. This is Kyle Warren. A short timeout, then back with more, so stay right there.
Hi, I'm Tim McGraw. Every 2 seconds, someone in America needs blood. Accident victims, cancer patients, and individuals with blood disorders and other illnesses. They may live next door or up the block or across town. They're our neighbors. Yet only a small percentage of those who are eligible to give donate blood. A healthy blood supply comes from ordinary people, just like you and me. It's all about neighbors helping neighbors. Your gift of blood is needed now to help save lives. That's why I'm joining with my good neighbors at State Farm and the American Red Cross in the Neighbors Give Life campaign to raise awareness and to challenge you to donate blood. It only takes an hour of your time and can save the lives of up to 3 people. You can donate as many as 6 times a year, so make an appointment to donate at your local blood center and donate often. I want you to join me now in giving the gift of life. Be a hometown hero. Visit NeighborsGiveLife.com for more information about donating blood.
Heart disease is the #1 killer of men and women in America. But did you know that just 30 minutes a day of physical activity can improve your health and decrease your risk of heart disease? An easy way to work physical activity into your regular routine is to start walking. For every hour of regular, vigorous exercise, you gain 2 hours of life expectancy. So start walking for yourself and for your heart. Start walking with your family. You'll feel better. Start walking with your friends. You'll live longer. Start walking in your community. You'll lead happier and healthier lives. Start walking. Start something. Join the movement today. For more information on the American Heart Association START program, visit startwalkingnow.org. And start walking. Start something.
Obama will tax us, we will freely give. Obama, Obama, he will save the world. Obama will tax us, we will freely give. It's patriotic, give your money now.
You're listening to Kyle Warren.
Yep. Give your money now. That's right. Well, you know, if only a handful of people, and they're saying it's 3% of the target goal, but of course the website didn't work, so we can't be anywhere near our targeted goal. But even so, I think that let's just say the website worked perfectly. I think they'd be very far down their target goal. And at some point, there's not going to be money to pay for Obamacare, and there's going to be, I don't know, some other kind of crisis, we'll need tax revenue of some sort, and we got to subsidize this more, we got to increase the subsidies, or whatever the case may be. And it's just going to get worse and worse and worse and worse. And unfortunately, this is not going to be addressed by Barack Obama, but I think it's going to be addressed by the Congress. And certainly after the first of the year, I think you're going to see that you're going to have a lot more in Congress calling for, if not a delay of a year or more, but perhaps even an outright repeal of Obamacare. I don't know that it will necessarily get voted on per se. Still too early to tell something like that, but I think you're going to start hearing more calls from both sides of the aisle to simply repeal the law. Barack Obama will not sign the repeal of the law. I think that much is a given, but I do think that the pressure on the White House is going to increase exponentially. And it's going to be a very, very difficult time, especially as we go into January and February, and as we start to reach the other milestones in March and so forth for Obamacare, even with extensions or whatever the case may be. It's just going to become very, very difficult for Barack Obama to do anything other than address the Obamacare situation day after day. Certainly, it's going to become very difficult for Jay Carney to do anything other than address the Obamacare situation day after day after day. This is the story of the second term of Barack Obama. This is what it's become. The country is going to have a very, very difficult time moving forward into this. Into this just menagerie of Obamacare problems. And see what's going to happen, especially after the first of the year. I think you're going to have a lot of people saying, gee, I had health care on December 31st, and we had a big New Year's party, and it was all a lot of fun and everything, except I was kind of sad the entire time because I knew that when the clock struck midnight, it wasn't just that it was a new year and have some champagne and kiss your wife or something like that. It's going to be no more health insurance, right? That's what it's going to mean. And it's laughable in the sense that now Americans are in this position to begin with. And who put them there? Well, it was Barack Obama. It's his law. He can't say, well, I just didn't read the fine print and nobody told me and yada, yada, yada. And in fact, have you seen anybody who's come out yet to fall on their sword for Barack Obama to say, we told him you could keep your health plan. It's just all our fault. And I'm just really, really sorry. And I sat there in the Oval Office and I misled him and I said, Mr. President, keeping your health care plan is a slam dunk. Sound familiar? Hey, Mr. President, weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, that's a slam dunk. Yeah, they can keep their health plan. They can keep their doctor too. It's a slam dunk. And that, my friends, is just people are just going to just be up in arms about this, and rightly so. I don't even know how we can get past so many people out there not being able to afford health care anymore because of Obamacare. It's like this is somebody made this up and we're all just sort of living in this weird dreamlike state that, we all wake up and say, we had this terrible dream that Obama, he was going to be the most successful president in the history of all the known universes, and he's the chosen one, and he came down from heaven and thus and so, and it was all so wonderful, and we just hung on his every word, and we just wanted to sit at his feet and listen to his speeches and so forth, and anybody who disagreed with it, we were run out of town and called him a racist and this kind of stuff, and anything, if you had any policy difference whatsoever, it made you a racist, or it's just all silly stuff, and then you wake up, you go, wow, it was just really, that was really bad, I'm so glad reality isn't like that. But guess what? This is the reality. This is the reality. We can't actually have a legitimate policy discussion about anything. Because if you disagree with Barack Obama, you're the enemy. We just gotta, we gotta tar and feather you. We gotta do something. We gotta destroy your entire existence if you have any difference of opinion at all with Barack Obama. Now, here's Jay Carney responding to what Bill Clinton said at the White House press briefing room.
Yes, Julie.
I wanted to get your reaction to a comment that President Clinton made in an interview that was posted today. He was talking about health care, that President Obama should honor his commitment to people who have lost their health care or are losing their health care under the president's law, even if it means changing that law. Does the president agree with that comment?
Well, I think as you saw the president say in an interview with NBC last week, the answer is yes. The president has tasked his team with looking at a range of options.
Okay, stop right there. Why do we have to look at a range of options? That's what I don't understand. You see, the president sold Obamacare to the American people on a lie that said, if you liked your health plan, you can keep it. This isn't going to affect you. You have nothing to do. If we were talking about 15% of people who can't get health insurance or don't have health insurance, we're going to make it easier through the exchanges for them to do it. This is what we're about. We're helping people, and people said, sure, man, we want to help people. And then we just, that's fine. Okay, fine. Well, we'll just, but there are the people who warned and said this is going to be bad. And they turned out to be right. Weren't they the crazy conspiracy theorists who said that? Weren't they the anti-Obama-tites who just didn't like Obama? They just didn't like him personally, right? Yada, yada, yada. Well, it turns out that that's not the case, but it was the case that they were right, that this was going to be bad. So why do you have to look at a range of options? Why isn't the press briefing room standing up on their feet and saying, there is no range of options to look at? The president made a promise. Everything was sold on this lie. And now that it's come out that this is a lie, it's an out-and-out lie, then the president simply has to honor that. The president loves to look at executive orders. He loves to, can contemplate bypassing Congress because he talks about it in public. People want me to bypass Congress. It's like, what? Why would you even say that? Well, in fact, in our republic, why would you talk? Can people talk about bypassing the president? We'll just bypass the president. It's no big deal. I'll just go conduct my own foreign policy with Iran because I'm just bypass. Because a lot of people want me to. A lot of people want me to conduct my own foreign policy with Iran. And that would be, you'd get in big trouble for that. You'd go to prison and stuff for that, wouldn't you? For conducting your own foreign policy. Well, why are you doing that? Well, because a lot of people want me to bypass the president and just issue a citizen's order, and this kind of thing. Then that would never fly. It would just be stupid, right? Well, the president can go out and talk about, people want me to bypass Congress. No, wait a minute. No, hold on. And people, yes, you can. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. See, we just want a dictator. That's all we want. We just want someone who's just going to, do what we want him to do for our own special interest. And that's okay. The republic be damned. We don't care. And this kind of stuff. And Congress, we don't need Congress unless it's for passing Obamacare. Back when the Congress was legitimate, when it had a Democrat House and a Democrat Senate. Oh, man, that's just the good old heady days of government legitimacy. And then now, suddenly, it was Republican control in the House. And that's just not acceptable. We can't have that. And now we got to find ways of bypassing Congress. So anyway, get off on this tangent. But, of course, the idea is if you sold Obamacare on a lie, then you need to make that right. You need to then say, look, here's what, and in fact, if President Obama wants to make a speech, make the following speech. I sold Obamacare. We deceived you on this. The only remedy for this is to repeal it. If the Congress sends me a simple void, quote unquote, that's it. Just says, guess what? Obamacare null and void. I will sign it. And I will sign it, and it will be repealed. And he's got to start fresh, man. I'll tell you, because the American people, for one thing, they're very forgiving. They're forgiving about these kinds of things, in the sense that if you're the leader and you make a mistake and you own up to it, they will say, okay, then all right, we forgive you, and you keep going. However, if you make this huge mistake and you don't own up to it and you don't say that you did it wrong, and they're not going to give you another chance. So Obama can decide how he wants his whole second term to go, and pretty much it's down to the days, I think, of how it's going to be determined how his whole second term is going to go. I really do think it's a very serious political matter for him. Now, either he wants to simply ram it down our throats like some kind of demented tongue depressor, or he is going to actually own up to this and say, we got to fix this, we got to make it right. We can't have tens of millions of people losing their health insurance on some ridiculous thing that I did. But he'll probably want to make a speech. But now he's looking at a range of options, according to Jay Carney. A range of options. Wasn't there a promise you could keep your health plan? Let's take a look at a range of options.
To make sure that nobody is put in a position where their plans have been canceled and they can't afford a better plan, even though they'd like to have a better plan. So you heard the president address this very issue in his interview last week. And I think it's important to note that President Clinton, in that interview, also said, and I quote, "The big lesson is that we are better off with this law than without it." And he said, quote, "The enrollment period did not come off well because the national website wasn't ready. But this happened once before. It happened when President Bush put in the Medicare drug program for seniors, which was not as complicated, but had exactly the same problem with the rollout. It was a disaster. There were people that lost their prescriptions for their existing medicine, and they fixed it." So the president, as you know, is pledged to task his team to look at potential actions that could be taken to address this problem, because his focus is on...
Stop right there. Take a look at potential actions that could be taken to address this problem. When you're losing your health insurance and you don't have it anymore, and you're canceled and you can't afford anything new, it's comforting. It's comforting to know that the president has asked his team to look at potential actions that could be taken to address this problem. It's like telling this terrible, terrible storm that has hit the Philippines, and the tragic the tragedies that have occurred for so many in the Philippines. Very, very sad to see all these different things that are happening there. It's like telling them, hey, guess what? Don't worry. We're looking at potential actions that could be taken to address your problem. It just doesn't ring. It doesn't make any sense. It's like, this is just political speak. It's not real. If you need someone, you have to help them. Or if someone needs your help, you have to help them. You have to make practical decisions. You have to be able to be there, and you have to be able to make it work. Not look at potential actions that could be used to address this problem. Let's continue.
Yeah. Quality and affordable health insurance.
But what the president said appears to be slightly different from what President Clinton said. President Clinton seems to be talking about anybody who's losing their plan, and what the president said and officials afterwards said was that they were focused more on people who were getting cancellations and then maybe weren't getting subsidies to cover higher premiums. So is what President Obama is looking at more narrow than...
Well, certainly the point we've made is that for more than half of those on the individual market.
And that's what we have there from Jay Carney. It is unbelievable to me. And again, here you even hear the follow-up question. Why is it? It's just more narrow. We're just talking about trying to get people more subsidies, blah, 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 for that kind of stuff. Or is this, what Bill Clinton said? But what Bill Clinton said, you can just put it in a nutshell. Let the people keep their plans. And this is how the law can be changed to say, if you had your plan, there are no cancellations based on Obamacare. There are no cancellations. Obamacare can be there to help the so-called 15% who needed it. That's what the American people thought it was for, generally speaking. And so you could redefine it that way. But you see, all these things are just not going to, it's too hard, and it's too complex, and it's too much, and it's too risky. This is remember when Al Gore would talk about a risky deficit scheme or some kind of thing like that, where everything would blow a hole in the deficit, it's going to blow a hole in the deficit, and it was just a risky such and such scheme. Well, this is a risky healthcare scheme. And it literally is a scheme, and it truly is risky. And so many people now, it's not just that they have a risk, but they've actually been kicked out of their health care. And so there's only one way to fix this. I should say two ways. Two ways you can say, look, you can keep your health plan. That's it. There are no stipulations on existing health care plans. You can get the health care plan you need or that you want. Or you can, and then other people can buy the Obamacare stuff on the website if they ever get that working. Or you simply repeal the entire law. And it's, again, I don't think it's a Democrat-Republican thing. I think it's an American thing. This healthcare plan needs to be repealed, or this healthcare law needs to be repealed. It cannot stand on its own 2 feet. It will not work. It is hurting people. And the whole point was to get people better coverage so that everybody would be healthier, right? Well, it's having exactly the opposite effect. If Barack Obama can't see it, perhaps then some people will see just the kind of leader that he is and just the kind of ideologue he truly is, and people will be able to render their opinions by polls or by the upcoming elections in 2014. Whatever it is, it's not going to be an easy road. Back after this.
You're listening to Kyle Warren.
My son Casey was a bright, fearless 20-year-old with a boundless future ahead of him. But in the blink of an eye, he was gone. While out riding his skateboard, Casey fell. He was not wearing a helmet. Our whole family wishes he was. It could have saved his life. I'm Captain Kevin Raffelli of the San Mateo Police Department. Whether you're on campus or back home on break, strap on a helmet every time you jump on a bike or skateboard. Think of my son Casey and use your head. Put a helmet on. It could save your life.
A message from the Consumer Product Safety Commission.
Hello, I'm Faith Hill. You know the expression, practice makes perfect? Well, maybe nowhere is that more true than in music. Music study is one of the most valuable ways that a student can spend time. A young person who practices and studies music reinforces teamwork, communication skills, self-discipline, and creativity. All the qualities that kids need to be successful in their other schoolwork. As parents, think about encouraging your children to try out several instruments at school until they find the one that really clicks. Talk to the school's music teacher about finding affordable lessons so your child can see his or her progress as time goes by. And please don't forget that your kids all have an instrument that's free and sounds wonderful, their voices.
A PSA brought to you by MENC, the National Association for Music Education, and the National Anthem Project, the campaign to restore America's voice through music education. Music, part of a sound education.
You're listening to Kyle Warren.
All right, welcome to Knock These Buildings Down. We'll hear all of us soon. And so it may be apples and oranges, healthcare versus the attack on 9/11, but the leadership principle is the same. President Obama, if he wants to have credibility with the American people, if he wants to be able to serve out his term and be able to have people listen to him and believe what he says and look to him for guidance and look to him for leadership for our national business, then he absolutely has to stop complicating this. And as Chris Christie said, lawyering it. He absolutely has to stop doing that. And he has to take a very simple approach to say, this isn't working out the way you believe that it would work out based on what I said over and over and over and over again. I am going to make it right. You know, if you have a product that you didn't like your product that you bought or something, you go back to the manager or whatever, and they do what? They do whatever they can to make it right. And what do you do when they make it right? You come back and you continue to spend your money at that store or that restaurant, whatever the case may be. Does Barack Obama understand even that simple premise of making sure that things are right for people? We'll see you tomorrow, folks. Take care out there.
You're listening to Kyle Warren.
Oh, yeah. From the bridges at Tokery, back to that Boston Tea Party, to the desert sands, and all points in between. In the air and on the sea, here at home we pray Godspeed. Admiral Tarrant coined it when Brubaker did not return. Where we get such men? Where does America find such men who answer freedom's cry and fight to the very end? Just a simple question I've been asking myself.
Normandy, Iwo Jima, the Philippines. They raised our flag so high that day the whole wide world could see. 9/11 has come to be our latest day of infamy. But have you forgotten those painful memories? Where does America find such men who answer freedom's cry and fight till the very end? Just a simple question I've been asking all my friends. Where does America find such men? Could have heard a pin drop the day those towers fell, and our friends on Flight 93 drove those bastards straight to hell. And firemen in YPD, they lost their lives in this tragedy. Thank those iron workers and search and rescue team. Where does America find such men who answer freedom's cry, fight till the very end? Just a simple question have you asked yourself, my friend? Where does America find such men? Men and women have paid the price with great courage and with their lives. We honor all our heroes willing to sacrifice. Where does America find such men who answer freedom's cry and fight till the very end? Just a simple question, got the answer, my friend. Where does America, here in America, it's right here in America, we find such men. It's right here in America. It's right here in America. God bless America. We honor our heroes. Sea to shining sea, land of the free, bought by the brave. God bless America. Where do we get so?
Ladies and gentlemen, from New York City, the man with the conservative side of the liberal town. Let's give it up for Mr. Toot Sweet. How y'all doing tonight? All right, well, thanks for coming. I see y'all waving your flags. I think you're gonna like this one. Here we go. A little less cigarette. It's gonna take some common sense. A little more tolerance. Yeah, you live with distractions, misstated infractions, overreactions. Drinking beer on the White House lawn. Elaborate illusions, a constant state of confusion without solutions. Makes no sense of me at all. I find him highly offensive, predictably unsensible. Man, he ain't lovable, he's fullable. And of the State of the Union, he's misusing. Make sure you tune in to Clip Back, everybody. A little less cigarette. All we need is some common sense. A little more tolerance. Indecent exposure with vital signs of dementia without disclosure. Did I just see the White House in foreclosure? Unlawful intrusions, delightful delusions with conclusions. Yeah, another Nobel Prize based on the improvement. Man, I'm eco-friendly. Love the planet, hate the movement. Their green gods are deadly to prosperity and improvement. It's downright audacity, defies nature and gravity. Have you no sense of decency? Politics, common sense, a little less ignorant. Show me some common sense. Common sense, a little more tolerance. America, can you hear me? Well, I hear you do. And pretty soon they're gonna hear all of us down in D.C. 'Cause we're gonna take back America one soul at a time. Here we go. This radical revolution's attacking our constitution. Why not subsidize all our institutions? Affirmative action and reconciliation and shit distribution. Sounds like Karl Marx finally got restitution. Yeah, you know, take from the rich and give to the poor. And to them all don't rich no more. That's the American way. This is a grand jury assembly, Venezuela, destined for failure. Making fun of ourselves. Man, you spend money like you jumped in Obama. Show me, show me. Show me some common sense. Show me some common sense. A little more tolerance. You just gotta show me. Come on and show me. Show me, show me. Come on and show me. Yeah. Come on and show me. Come on and show me. Yeah. Thank you.
Freedom tastes like honey, why would you spit it out? Would you give it up for the money? Or how about political clout? Would you give it up for security in the face of a rising storm? Or would you face a danger, trade in your anger, unite and become one? If we never knew the taste of freedom, we would still instinctively know. Our souls would yearn to be our own, and our minds would yearn to grow. I'd hate that you were trodden down, locked up, if you should shout. Freedom tastes like honey, or why would you spit it out? Freedom tastes like honey, melts across my tongue, and when it's gone it won't linger on, a bitter taste begun. Would you give it up for the medical bill, or a way to shut me down? Or would you pay your way, maybe learn to say, hey neighbor, I'll help you out? If we never knew the taste of freedom, we would still instinctively know. Our souls would yearn to be our own, and our minds would yearn to grow. I hate that you were trodden down, locked up, if you should shout. Freedom tastes like honey, or why would we spit it out? Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light? Freedom, freedom, watching it slip away. Freedom, freedom, a little bit more each day. Now get off your butt right now, take a pledge, make a vow, call up your political hack, tell them you're not buying their smack. I said freedom, freedom, watch it slip away. I said freedom, freedom, a little West is back. Constitution's under attack. I said freedom, freedom. You gotta hear me, I said freedom, freedom is being taken away. Don't let them kick your neighbor off his land. This is where we gotta make a stand. The stewards of this land are mom and pop. The government couldn't run a soda shop. I said freedom, freedom. Watch it slipping away. I said freedom, freedom. A little bit more each day. So you say I want a revolution. I say you need to pay attention. Freedom is worth fighting for. Freedom men have gone to war. I said freedom, freedom. Watch it slip away. I said freedom, our freedoms. Little more each day.
Nate Smooth with it, baby. Little jam I wrote called Singing Nate. Y'all know I ain't no singer, so I had to bring in two of my homies, Ron Cobb and Delon Anderson, to help me out on the vocal tracks. A little something to keep y'all bobbing your head, keeping your conscience right, thinking on the right track. A little inspiration. Keep y'all up in spirits. Check it out. Now I'ma wake up early in the morning. Give me God praise before I start yawning. Gotta get my day started off right. Not worried about what happened last night. I'm looking forward to a new beginning. Cause everything I do I plan on winning. Keeping my head up and doing what it takes. And not looking back at my past mistakes. Yo.
Praise to Christ. Clear my mind from the previous night, from everything that was not right. Keep my soul and faith intact. I'm moving forward and never looking back. Keep my head up, moving on. Sing it, Nate, sing your song. Praise to Christ. Clear my mind from the previous night, from everything that was not right. Keep my soul and faith intact. I'm moving forward and never looking back. Keep my head up, I'm moving on. Sing it, Nate, sing your song. I'ma keep my head up and eyes wide open, strutting real tall while I keep on hoping in the Lord, cause he's my king. So he's the reason why I wrote Nate Sing. And I'm proud to be a child of the Lord, even when my life seems too hard. Cause that's just part of the life we live, and it's never gonna hinder the praises I give. I'm gonna start this day off right. I give it honor and praise to Christ. Clear my mind from the previous night, from everything that was not right. Keep my soul and faith intact. I'm moving forward and never looking back. Keep my head up, moving on. Sing it, Nate, sing your song. I'm not going back, I can't look back. I gotta push it forward, and that's a fact. Cause life is full of these trying times. Sometimes you're laughing, sometimes you're crying. But that shouldn't stop a man from praising God. You should praise him more when times are hard. Keep your head up, eyes on the prize. Forget about the other day, rise man, rise. I'm gonna start this day off right. I give it honor and praise to Christ. Clear my mind from the previous night, from everything that was not right. Keep my soul and faith intact. I'm moving forward and never looking back. Keep my head up, I'm moving on. Sing it, Nate, sing your song. Got my man Rob, dog on the guitar. people outside my door, looking for more. No, this world is a funny place where people hide and people face their fears, wondering why. I guess some things we'll never know. Where does a cute and babies go? That's when I felt your hand. This world was right again, my girl. I guess I've been around, and I've been up and I've been down, my friend. It never ends. She's like a song to me, yeah. She's on my mind constantly, I swear. I can smell her hair. She makes me laugh, she makes me cry. There ain't no place where love can hide. I see the story in her eyes, my girl. My time in misery, then one day she set me free. I know where the river goes, through our hearts into the sea. We kiss the stars and dance under the moonlight all night long. They say there ain't no place like home. She reached inside and turned this stone to life. This life, my life, my girl.
It's written in the Constitution. Independence, independence. Words of wisdom in the valor, balancing political power. Independence, independence. Government of the people, government by the people, government for the people, government, we the people. Sons of the founding fathers, revolutionary daughters. Independence, independence. Endowed by our Creator, inalienable rights of nature. Independence, independence. Government of the people, government by the people, government for the people, government, we the people. Freedom isn't free, know what you believe. Freedom isn't free, you got
got to fight for liberty. Independence, independence, independence. Freedom isn't free government of the people, government by the people, government for the people, government we the people, government of the people, government by the people, government for the people, government we the people.
Can I get a hallelujah? Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Well, I grew up back in the sticks. I was raised on cornbread and scripture, and I praise God for teaching me wrong from right. I had a wild streak, 3 counties wide, the devil had me dead in his sides. It was the hand of God that kept me out of the hands of the law. Ooh, yeah. Mama brought the Bible, Daddy rung the bells. Mama set the table, Daddy rung the bell. The preacher did his best to show me the light, but Daddy was the one that kept me walking the line. Mama sang the gospel, Daddy drove it home. Mama was an angel, Daddy was the brimstone. 1 foot in heaven, 1 foot in hell. I found religion between the Bible and the bell. I guess it rings true what the good book says. What you learn young, you never forget. Daddy's bell left quite an impression on me. Ooh, yeah. I can still hear Mama's voice in the choir. She set the whole damn church on fire, and it still burns in the deepest part of me. Now listen here. Well, Mama brought the Bible, Daddy rung the bells. Mama set the table, Daddy rung the bell. The preacher did his best to show me the light, but Daddy was the one that kept me walking the line. Mama sang the gospel, Daddy drove it home. Mama was an angel, Daddy was the brimstone. 1 foot in heaven, 1 foot in hell. I found religion between the Bible and the bell. One more again. Mama sang the gospel, Daddy drove it home. Mama was an angel, Daddy was the brimstone. 1 foot in heaven, 1 foot in hell. I found religion between the Bible and the bell. 1 foot in heaven, 1 foot in hell. I found religion between the Bible and the bell. She was right there by your side every step of the way. It made you feel like a hell of a man. You treated her in your own way. All the cussing and the fighting in the back of your hand. It went on too long.
Bet you never thought she would find the strength to pack up, leave, and be gone. And now you're looking everywhere, but she ain't nowhere to be found. She deserves a good loving man, someone to make her feel proud. And now you feel the pain, crying in your beer about what you lost and how it hurts so bad. But you can't lose what you never had. Friends wanted her to walk away, but she held it all inside. She hoped and prayed for some better days, that he might stay sober tonight. All the lying and denying she could never understand. Just the same old song. And she knows sorry don't mean a thing when you keep on doing wrong. And now you're looking everywhere, but she ain't nowhere to be found. She deserves a good loving man, someone to make her feel proud. And now you feel the pain, crying in your beer about what you lost and how it hurts so bad. But you can't lose what you never had. She's moved on, her new life has just begun. You ought to feel lucky, you could have been staring down the barrel of a shotgun. And now you're looking everywhere, but she ain't nowhere to be found. She deserves a good loving man, someone to make her feel proud. And now you feel the pain, crying in your beer about what you lost and how it hurts so bad. But you can't lose what you never had. You can't lose. Oh, you can't lose. You can't lose. Oh,
me from your washed out, down and out, lost and found place of make-believe. From your easy chair in the air, Titanic decks are getting wet from icebergs of misery. For a number of years I've been waiting for you to come back home to me. Hold me now in your own light, forget the night, it'll be alright, embrace your destiny. It ain't about the watch and chain, the piper's game, the empty flame that gives you what you need. Seems like oceans of tears I've been crying for you to wake up from this dream. I'm gonna get up every morning to lose what I must win and find another way of living that feels good within my skin. I'm gonna throw away the book of lies that brought me to this place. I'm gonna see myself reflected in the timelessness of grace. I'm gonna tear down every stinking wall I built to keep me in. I'm gonna pledge allegiance to myself and save my only friend from this mountain of fear. I stand bold and in my tracks. When you go through that door, there ain't no turning back from a new earth under you. There's a new earth under you. There's a new earth under me. There's a new earth under you. There's a new earth under me. There's a new earth under you. There's a new earth under me.
Sand, looking at the moon, the water all lit up, the wet sand on my feet, the wonder of your love. I look at the stars and I know, yes I know, I'm never far from home. Cause I'm looking at heaven. I'm looking at heaven. I'm looking at heaven. When I'm looking at you, the beauty that you are is brighter than the light of the brightest star. You take my breath away. Nothing in creation could ever take your place. I look at the stars and I know, yes I know, I'm never far
What's up, America? This your man Nate Smooth on a G-Nasty track, spitting that conservative fire at ya. Coming way from the right, never from the left. I'm bringing it down for you. Deep game, players.
My God, can you bless the USA? Bless the USA. Bless the USA. Can you bless the USA? My God, can you bless the USA? Bless the USA. Bless the USA. Can you bless the USA?
First, God, let me thank you right away. Yes, indeed, I say, this country is so great, yet we have lost our way. Forgive us, Lord, can you today? But we have been astray. That's all that I can say. Forgive us, Lord, today.
You see, evil men and women took us down this path. There's a dedicated few of us that's fighting back. Got a lot of work to do, and we can't look back. Can't look back, no, we can't look back. Keep pushing back the tyranny that's in the way. We have to fight for our freedoms every day. The rhinos and the liberals keep doing us wrong. When the next election comes, their ass is gone.
My God, can you bless the USA? Bless the USA. Bless the USA. Can you bless the USA? My God, can you bless the USA? Bless the USA. Bless the USA. Can you bless the USA?
First, God, let me thank you right away. Yes, indeed, I say, this country is so great, yet we have lost our way. Forgive us, Lord, can you today? But we have went astray. That's all that I can say. Forgive us, Lord, today.
We have idiots running the White House. Now they're trying to put their hands in our house, taking over our kids in public schools, purposely dumbing them down as fools. It's not right, America. Take a stand. Vote the traitors out as fast as you can. Vote for patriotic, God-fearing folk. See, that's the ones that deserve our votes.
My God, can you bless the USA? Bless the USA. Bless the USA. Can you bless the USA? My God, can you bless the USA? Bless the USA. Bless the USA. Can you bless the USA?
It's time to bring America back from the dead. The eagle doesn't even fly high no more. I'm telling y'all, socialism got to go. It's killing our spirit, it's killing our pride. It's looking like the American dream has died. America needs us, don't give in. Just fight back the tyranny and all of the sin.
My God, can you bless the USA? Bless the USA. Bless the USA. Can you bless the USA? My God, can you bless the USA? Bless the USA. Bless the USA. Can you bless the USA? My God, can you bless the USA?
Can you bless us, Lord?
Bless the USA.
We need your blessing, Lord.
Bless the USA. Can you bless the USA? My God, can you bless the USA?
Can you bless us, Lord?
Bless the USA.
We need your blessing, Lord.
Bless the USA. Can you bless the USA?
I hear people talk most every day, talking cheap no matter what price you pay. It can't change the writing on the wall. Yes, times are tough, and that's what people say, but it's not always gonna be that way. Winter, spring, summer has come to fall. So hold me close and
see the dawn's early light. When I look in your eyes, I see our best days straight ahead. Sure as the dawn follows the night, and wrong gives way to right. When I look in your eyes, I see our best days straight ahead. Well, the morning sun brings a brand new day. Lead, follow, or get the hell out of the way. We've been through too much to be denied, 'cause the truth rings right clear every day. Any burden, any price we'll pay. There's no turning back for this red tide. So hold me close and hold me tight. I see the dawn's early light. When I look in your eyes, I see our best days straight ahead. Sure as the dawn will follow the night, and wrong gives way to right. When I look in your eyes, I see our best days straight ahead. I see our best days straight ahead. We watch them close shops and factories down. No reason for hope, no good news to be found. But we refuse to give up, we refuse to fall. But now the dead wood has been cut down, and we're standing on higher ground. There's a steely-eyed generation standing tall. So hold me, see your best days straight ahead. Sure as the dawn will follow the night, and wrong gave way to right. Open up your eyes, you see your best days straight ahead. Open up your eyes, you see your best days straight ahead. Open up your eyes, you see your best days are straight ahead.
Yo, this your man Nate Smooth with another G-Nasty track. Just here to pass on a little encouragement with a little grown folk rhymes. Check it out, y'all.
Keep your head up, keep your mind right. All through the day, all through the night. God's got your back, that's a known fact. Keep your faith in Him, and you'll bounce back.
Now she's a single mother, doing the best she can, working day and night, driving trucks for the man. She leaves her home with her head up high. As she closed the door, a part of her seems to die. Another 6 days away from her babies, constantly praying to keep them going crazy. Doing what she has to do, she keeps giving 110% to make a living.
Keep your head up, keep your mind right. All through the day, all through the night. God's got your back, that's a known fact. Keep your faith in Him, and you'll bounce back. Do what you gotta do, just to make it through. Gotta tough it out, you can't moan and pout. Keep your faith in God, and never ever doubt. Gotta push forward until it works out.
He had big dreams, big goals, he had it planned. Was determined and focused, he was the man. Building his enterprise was his main concern. Making 6 figures on the grind as he learned. Working 6-7 days was a piece of cake. Then an economic downturn took place. Was on his way up the ladder, reaching for the stars. Now he's lost everything that he worked for.
Keep your head up, keep your mind right. All through the day, all through the night. God's got your back, that's a known fact. Keep your faith in Him, and you'll bounce back. Do what you gotta do, just to make it through. Gotta tough it out, you can't moan and pout. Keep your faith in God, and never ever doubt. Gotta push forward until it works out.
Yo, it's funny how life roller coaster of ups and downs keep you on your toes. There's moments when you're doing well in life, and there's moments when you're not doing so well. It's either going to make you or break you if you let it. We tend to stress out when things aren't going right in our lives. There's one truth that's always a constant. God is always in charge. Keep your faith in Him. He'll help you through whatever you're going through. You graduated high school, first in your class. That last year was tough, and you're glad you passed. Now you're off to college, doing big things, seeking higher education to expand your brains. You're doing very well and making good grades. After 4 years, now it's time to get paid. You hit the ground running, trying to find a job. And when you get to the workplace, they're not hired.
Keep your head up, keep your mind right. God's got your back, that's a known fact. Do what you gotta do, just to make it through. Keep your faith in God, and never ever doubt. Keep your head up, keep your mind right. All through the day, all through the night. God's got your back, that's a known fact. Keep your faith in Him, and you'll bounce back. Do what you gotta do, just to make it through. Gotta tough it out, you can't moan and pout. Keep your faith in God, and never ever doubt. Gotta push forward until it works out.
Hey Rob Dog, I think I got one for you, player.
say when angels cry, the rain falls. Clouds will gather, take the sun away. The road tears she saw a rainbow's end, and she tossed a coin to wish the pain away. Would you wash my tears away? Hold on to love. Hold on to my love. Hold on to me. Hold on to my love. Look in the mirror, see what I can't see. I can't see. Life's not as bad as it seems to be sometimes. 'Cause I see me in you, and I believe that tomorrow's not as bad as yesterday. Don't know. Hold on to love when the angels cry. Hold on to me in the rain. Don't let the clouds get in your way. Hold on to love when you wish the pain was over. Hold on to me in the rain. Hold on to my love. Hold on to my Hold on to love when the angels cry. Hold on to me in the rain. Don't let the clouds get in your way. Hold on to love when you wish the pain was over. Hold on to me in the rain. Hold on to my love.
Hi, everybody. Jimmy Z, the Big Jimmy Z Show. Got another one for you. A lot to get into, and I'm going to try and cover as much as I can, as I always do, but this time, I'm really going to focus on getting as much done as possible. It's always tempting for me to sink my teeth in and really comment fully on whatever issue I'm talking about. And so I can easily go 15 minutes on just about anything. Anyway, so that means it's the Jimmy Z Rapid Fire News and Commentary. Oh, yeah. Okay, the first story here is out of Cincinnati at WCPO.com. A formal complaint will be filed against global shipping giant DHL Express after 24 Muslim employees say they were fired from a northern Kentucky facility for protesting a rule change that undermined their ability to pray at work. The Cincinnati chapter of the Council on American Islamic Relations, or CARE, held a news conference at 1 p.m. Thursday to announce the filing of an Equal Employment Opportunity Commission civil rights complaint on behalf of the former workers at the DHL Global Mail facility in Hebron, Kentucky. Only 3 of the workers were full-time employees of DHL, The others were part-time workers who helped through temporary service agencies, according to CARE. CARE staff attorney Booker Washington says all of the fired employees are Somali Muslims. According to a press release from CARE, the complaint contends the individuals were dismissed from their jobs October 9th for, quote, asserting their right to reasonable accommodation for their religious practices, including daily prayer. Now, this article goes into a bunch of details. You can read it if you want. But the bottom line here is this. These people believe that an employer owes them time to pray. And I think I read an article somewhere where they want to be able to pray during their work time. You know, if it's time to pray, it doesn't matter if I'm being paid or if I'm on a break or if I'm at lunch. If it's time to pray, I should be allowed to pray. CARE has informed the company of its obligation under the law to reasonably accommodate these workers' religious practices. What the hell is that about? Instead of abiding by the law and doing the right thing, DHL has decided to stand behind their violation of these workers' civil rights. Since when is practicing your religion at work a civil right? You have a civil right to follow any faith you want. And it also says here, the organization says the firings violate Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which prohibits employers from discriminating against individuals because of their religion in hiring, firing, and other terms and conditions of employment. Look, that doesn't mean that an employer should have to accommodate some wacky prayer practices within Islam or any faith. Here's what I wrote on Facebook. If your faith does not allow you to work, then that's too bad. Stay home then. But employers should not be bound to give you prayer time, paid prayer time, to practice your stupid false religion. Jesus Christ gives you ultimate freedom. And in fact, the Bible says that you should work for your employer as unto the Lord. So get to work, you stupid Muslims. You know, I can't imagine being employed and going to my supervisor and saying, you know, you got to give me time for a devotional. I need a Bible study every morning about 9:15, 9:30, and I'm going to sit at my desk and say a prayer and study the Bible for 15 minutes. And you got to give me the time because you cannot keep me from practicing my faith at work. What the hell? That's crazy. I'm Jimmy Z, and it makes me want to vomit. I want to vomit. I want to vomit. I want to vomit. It makes me want to vomit. I want to vomit. I want to vomit. I want to vomit. It makes me want to vomit. And that's the truth. Coffee, 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 coffee all day long. 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 I drink coffee, 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 coffee all day long. Coffee, 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 coffee all day long. I drink coffee. Jimmy Z Show. 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 Jimmy Z Show.
Jimmy Z, this is the United States calling. Repeat, this is the United States calling. Jimmy Z, do you copy? Over. From behind enemy lines in the socialist state of California, you have found the Jimmy Z Show.
Show number 1059, hour number 1783. You've heard of HD radio, and you've heard of HD TV. This is HDZ.
Only a numbskull without an ounce of brains would fall for that gup.
Jimmy Z.
Jimmy?
This sucks. Yeah.
This hour of the Jimmy Z Show is also heard on
the Planet Z Network, Right Talk Radio, Net Talk World, Ghostfighter Radio, Red State Talk Radio, Talk Stream Live, Automatic, WTSA Internet Radio, and TalkSuperstation.com.
You are listening to the Jimmy Z Show, Boss Talk Radio, all across America.
I'm going to do a terrific show today, and I'm going to help people because I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me.
Hi, everybody!
Hello, everybody, and welcome. Jimmy Z, the Big Jimmy Z Show, right here at thejimmyzshow.com. If you want to contact the show for any reason whatsoever, my email address is jz@thejimmyzshow.com. And if you want to call and record your comments for playback on the next day's show, that phone number is 714-905-9591. Tea Party at the Crossroads. This is an article at Real Clear Politics. And there's a question in this article, and that's what I want to address. You can read this article. No doubt there are many conservatives who are going to read this, and they're not going to appreciate it, but it comes from not Bill O'Reilly, not Chris Christie, not some of the moderate Republicans we've come to distrust. This article is written by Thomas Sowell. And he starts off the article by saying third parties have an unbroken record of failure in American politics. So it was refreshing to see in the Tea Party an insurgent movement, mainly of people who were not professional politicians, but who nevertheless had the good sense to see that their only chance of getting their ideals enacted into public policies was within one of the two major parties. More importantly, the Tea Party was an insurgent movement that was not trying to impose some untried utopia, but to restore the lost heritage of America that had been eroded, undermined, or just plain sold out by professional politicians. What the Tea Party was attempting was conservative, but it was also insurgent, if not radical, in the sense of opposing the root assumptions behind the dominant political trends of our times. Obamacare epitomized those trends, since its fundamental premise was that the federal government had the right to order individual Americans to buy what the government wanted them to buy, whether or not they wanted to buy it, based on the assumption that Washington elites know what is good for us better than we know ourselves. The Tea Party's principles were clear, but their tactics can only be judged by the consequences. Since the Tea Party sees itself as the conservative wing of the Republican Party, its supporters might want to consider what was said by an iconic conservative figure of the past, Edmund Burke. Quote, "Preserving my principles unshaken, I reserve my activity for rational endeavors." Fundamentally, now follow me here, fundamentally, rational means the ability to make a ratio, that is, to weigh one thing against another. Burke makes a key distinction between believing in a principle and weighing the likely consequences of taking a particular action to advance that principle. There is no question that the principles of anyone who believes in the freedom of American citizens from arbitrary government dictates like Obamacare, unauthorized by anything in the Constitution and forbidden by the 10th Amendment, must oppose this quantum leap forward in the expansion of the power of government. There is nothing ambiguous about the principle. The only question is about the tactics, the Tea Party's attempt to defund Obamacare. The principle would justify repealing Obamacare. So the only reason for the Tea Partiers limiting themselves to trying to defund Obamacare this year was a recognition that repealing it was not within their power. The only question then is, was defunding Obamacare within their power? most people outside the Tea Party recognized that defunding Obamacare was also beyond their power, and events now confirm that. It was virtually inconceivable from the outset, this is Thomas Sowell writing, that the Tea Party could force the Democrats who controlled the Senate to pass the defunding bill, even if the Tea Party had the complete support of all Republican senators, which it did not, much less pass it with a majority large enough to override President Obama's certain veto. Thomas Sowell is exactly right. And with 2 of the 3 houses in Washington, D.C. and Democrat-controlled, that is, the Senate and the White House, it was indeed impossible. And I said so right here on my show before it all got started. There was never any conservative leverage to force Obama and Harry Reid to negotiate, much less concede. It was not only a wasted effort, but it ended up harming conservatives and conservatism in the eyes of the voters, and most damaging, in the eyes of the GOP hierarchy. Which is why I said on my show weeks ago that this might be the reason the GOP leadership let the conservatives in Congress do this in the first place. Because they knew that this could damage conservatives, and they could use this to keep promoting their brand of moderate republicanism. So am I right? Oh, I don't know, but it's possible. I think it's a decent theory. And Thomas Sowell backs me up. He writes, with the chances of making a dent in Obamacare by trying to defund it being virtually zero, and the Republican Party's chances of gaining power in either the 2014 or 2016 elections being reduced by the public's backlash against that futile attempt, there was virtually nothing to gain politically and much to lose. However difficult it might be to repeal Obamacare after it gets up and running, the odds against repeal after the 2014 and 2016 elections are certainly no worse than the odds against defunding it in 2013. Winning those elections would improve the odds. That's Thomas Sowell, and his article is published at Real Clear Politics. All right, next up, audio from Charles Krauthammer, talking about Obama's apology that we took apart piece by piece on the Jimmy Z Show last Friday.
The president now is toxic. The thing is called Obamacare. There's no running away from it. It's got his name on it. You see the president, you think about the policy, and you know it's a disaster. And the problem for the Democrats is they are hostage to a bunch of geeks working right now late into the night trying to fix a system which is not just the glitches it talked about. The architecture, the underlying structure of it is wrong. I think the likelihood of it being fixed, working like you would expect from any normal commercial private website normally by December 1 is pretty small. And the pressure on the White House will become irresistible. If it isn't up and running smoothly and perfectly, they're going to start with postponements, and then the whole thing starts to unravel.
All right, that's Charles Krauthammer. I love the first sentence there.
The president now is toxic.
I could listen to that a dozen times.
The president now is toxic, toxic, toxic.
Awesome. Charles Krauthammer on Fox News. Something else from Charles Krauthammer on Obamacare, talking about all these people who are losing the insurance they like.
Look, this is the Gulf oil spill. Drip, 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 and the president being utterly helpless, except that Obama is the one who drilled the well. And it is not outside of him. This is his doing, his signature achievement. I think as damaging as the website problems are, I think much more damaging is what his numbers are with people rating him on job approval and whether they have a favorable opinion of it. It has dropped like a stone, and the reason is he was caught in an obvious deception. The one thing he did in the interview last week that I think was not picked up on is the fact that he compounded it when he said, well, you know, we're really sorry about all those people who've lost their insurance. It's because we didn't craft the law perfectly. appropriately. That is precisely the opposite of the truth. He's done it again. All you had to do to craft the law appropriately is to have a line that would say, anybody who has insurance and likes it will keep it. That's no crafting at all. They crafted the law precisely in a complicated way in order to maximize the number of people who would lose insurance. So it's only if you had insurance before March of 2010. And even if you did, if there was any change in your insurance in the 3.5 years in between, say a $5 increase in your copay, that would throw you into the pool of people who would lose insurance. So the crafting was done precisely to throw people off insurance. And the president said exactly the opposite. This is one deception after another, and if it turns out that they can't get the website up by the end of the month, that's going to be another, it's not going to be called a deception, but that's going to be another announcement, another pledge or promise that is unfulfilled. And that, I think, is the real undoable damage. It's to the president himself.
All right, that's Charles Krauthammer talking about Obamacare. Next up is Sarah Palin on the Today Show on NBC with Matt Lauer, slapping down Obama's supposed apology.
Let me start with Obamacare and the rollout issues. The president apologized at the end of the last week for not only the issues with the website, but broken promises as well. Did he say what he had to say?
Yeah, what apology? What apology? He kind of acknowledged a bit that there is a broken website. The broken website is the least of America's worries. This broken website, I think, is symbolic of a broken administration, a takeover of 1/6 of our economy, and this socialized medicine that's being crammed down our throat. That's what's broken.
He apologized for the fact that he made a promise during the rollout, during the campaign for our health.
Many promises.
Made it over and over again, said you get to keep your existing policy. If you like it, 5% of Americans can't keep it because it doesn't meet the standards of the new health care law. If it turns out, Governor, that they end up, those 5% of people, with a better health insurance policy, do you think they'll forgive him for the broken promise? From the Tea Party, over and over again, we're hearing the words no, defund, delay, repeal.
Absolutely.
What are we hearing from the Tea Party in terms of an absolute realistic plan that can be an alternative to Obamacare?
And it's not just the independent grassroots Tea Party movement saying this. It's many in the Republican Party and many Democrats too, especially Democrats in red states that are running for re-election.
Where's the plan?
Where's the plan? Where's the plan? Matt Lauer, where's the plan? You know, the Tea Party does not have to come up with a plan. The Republican Party has already come up with a plan, and besides, I don't want a plan. I don't want the government taking over health care. What I do want is the government, I've said this a number of times on the show, I want the government, the people in Congress, in the Senate and the House of Representatives, to make up a list of the problems within the healthcare system in America, and then go through that list one item at a time, one bill at a time. Instead of having a 2,000-page or 2,500-page bill, you have one bill to address one issue, and it's debated in Congress, and then a bill is finally approved and sent to the president, and he can decide whether or not he's going to sign it or not. All right, next up, James O'Keefe. He's the guy who went after Acorn years ago. Has a new set of videos out, and he is now exposing the truth about Obamacare Navigator. But there's an article at the National Review that you really do need to read. I'm going to pick a couple of high points out, but you need to read this article. This time, James O'Keefe's undercover investigators focused on Obamacare's navigators, the nearly 50,000 people who, in the words of the Department of Health and Human Services, quote, will serve as an in-person resource for Americans who want additional assistance in shopping for and enrolling in plans on the Obamacare exchanges. Now get this, the total value of grants doled out for nonprofits and community organizations to hire navigators has topped $67 million nationwide. And some of the money is going to a group run by Acorn's highly controversial founder. How do you like that? the events of O'Keefe's video of a Texas Navigator site run by the National Urban League, God, holy crap, are a familiar sight to viewers of his past efforts exposing Medicaid and voter fraud. Government-paid workers supposedly trained to uphold the law advise clients on how to lie on government forms, evade legal requirements, and ignore proper procedures. I want to vomit. I want to vomit. I want to vomit. It makes me want to vomit. One navigator advises an investigator for O'Keefe's Project Veritas, who tells the worker that he sometimes smokes. Oh, you lie because your premiums will be higher. Don't tell him that. Don't tell him. God, don't tell the truth. Oh, my God. Then the investigator poses as a low-income worker at a university who has unreported cash income on the side, and he's worried about how that might affect premium subsidies. That's no problem for the navigator. This is the Obamacare navigator who's getting paid, who says, don't get yourself in trouble by declaring it now. Yeah, it didn't happen. Another navigator says, one more chimes in, never report it. Wow. But you got to hear this. An organization called Enroll America, O'Keefe reports, appears to be sharing data and working directly with an explicitly political group called Battleground Texas, activities that he notes are prohibited unless certain conditions are met. Adrian Bell, the regional field director for Battleground Texas, proudly notes that the group was started by President Obama's national field director and is dedicated to turning Texas blue. Now, these community organizations that are part of the group of navigators who are there to help people get involved or get enrolled in Obamacare are not supposed to be political activists at all. But whatever liberal Democrats do, no matter what they do, in any organization they work in, they are always politically motivated. They are always engaged in political activism. Always. You can state in the law and you can state in the regulations that this will not be politically partisan. But as long as liberal Democrats are involved, it will always be partisan. Always. That's what Democrats do.
So we are Enroll America. We are a 501c3 nonprofit, nonpartisan organization.
What Enroll America does is it goes, we're running a campaign called Get Covered America.
We are right now in 11 states. Obviously with Texas being the biggest because we have the most uninsured in the country. There are a few navigators here in town that has received grants from the National Health and Human Services. Change Matters, Gateway to Care, if anybody's familiar with them, the National Urban League, Planned Parenthood. I know there's a lot, Legacy Health Clinic. A lot of the community health clinics got grants just to do things like this. The National Urban League.
Enroll America, a 501c3, told us all about the recipients of Navigator grants in federally facilitated and state partnership marketplaces. So we decided to investigate some of the navigators in Dallas, Texas.
If I came here, that you guys can print it out for me and I can mail it in because the website is down.
Okay. So you need
I think it's like 2 or 3. Yes, ma'am. And if you could walk me through some of the things, because I had some questions on it.
I'm hoping. I have not finished my training yet.
Really? Okay. I'm sorry.
Enroll America ensured us these navigators were vetted, and there were checks in place to prevent fraud from happening.
If you hear the word navigators, they're just established organizations that got a grant. They went through all the background checks and everything.
Hi, I'm Adrian.
Hi.
It's going through IRS and then one of the credit agencies, so there really shouldn't be fraud happening.
But our cameras caught the navigators encouraging us to lie about our income and deceive the IRS to receive more Obamacare subsidies.
I'm a college student, but I work for the university. I do stuff there, and then I do stuff on the side.
Okay. So you got combined W-2s?
No, because the other stuff I do is like barber, or I'll go and clean houses and things like that, just to get extra money on the side. But I've never filed that type of stuff on my file my taxes.
How long are you supposed to file a percentage of it?
A percent.
Yeah, but you're making money on a cash basis.
Okay.
Don't get yourself in trouble by declaring it now.
Exactly.
Yeah, it didn't happen.
Yeah, okay. But because I'm like...
What you can document.
Be talking with Darla D about all these jokes that are proliferating on the late night talk shows about Obamacare and the Obamacare website. I'm Jimmy Z. It's the Jimmy Z Show right here at thejimmyzshow.com, where I'm hated by the left for all the right reasons.
I think as damaging as the website problems are, I think much more damaging is what his numbers are with people rating him on job approval and whether they have a favorable opinion of it. It has dropped like a stone.
This is the first time I've been able to actually listen because of my work schedule, so I'm very thankful for being able to listen to such wonderful intellectual conservatism.
The Jimmy Z Show.
Inspired by liberty, it's Pop Modal Videos.
Pop Modal.
Pop Modal Videos, the conservative reaction to YouTube. A video sharing community designed and built by and for Americans. Online, go to popmodal.com.
Pop Modal.
Research, educate, and entertain. Pop Modal Videos at popmodal.com.
This is Bill Keller, founder of LivePrayer.com, and you're listening to The Jimmy Z Show. I'd like to personally invite you to come check out LivePrayer.com. There you can sign up to get the free daily devotional I've written each morning for 13 years on the issues of the day from a biblical worldview. That now goes to over 2.4 million subscribers worldwide each day. Also check out our Miracle Center for video prayers on healing, finances, relationships, and so much more like the Live Prayer Daily Video Message. Incredible, unique content you won't find anywhere else, like the audio of my appearances on The Howard Stern Show. And if you're hurting, going through difficult times, you can email us a prayer request that we will send a personal response back to you. Check it all out at www.liveprayer.com. And don't forget, support the Jimmy Z program. He's a true man of God who doesn't compromise the truth, and your support allows him to reach people with the truth they aren't getting anywhere else. God bless you.
It's been... Protector.
I am my kid's mom.
Rates homeless. It's not.
Hey, Sean, you're a great American.
Or you did.
Get off my phone, moron.
Blame me.
Here on The Factor.
I hear you.
From the right wing on the left coast.
Hey, that's the show. Leave it there.
This is the Jimmy Z Show, right here on thejimmyzshow.com.
Oldies but goodies from the 50s and 60s that radio stations just don't play anymore. RocketOldies106.com. Rocket Oldies 106, a truly unique and fun oldies station on the internet, playing 50s and 60s hits. RocketOldies106.com. And the Rocket is streaming online 24 hours a day. So click on the Rocket, LA's best oldies, playing great oldies you just can't find anywhere else.
And I'm not saying I'm smart. I don't understand how I know everything they're going to do. It's not like I'm just pulling this out of a hat.
Jimmy Z.
everybody. Welcome back. Jimmy Z, the Big Jimmy Z Show, right here at thejimmyzshow.com. I want to thank you for listening and thank you for taking my program and passing it along to your relatives, your friends, your neighbors, and your coworkers. All those people that you know who are not paying attention to what's happening in our country.
Darla D and Jimmy Z.
Hi, everybody. Once again, it's Darla D and Jimmy Z. I'm Jimmy Z over here in California.
And this is Darla D, and I reside in Arizona.
And today we're going to talk about some of the Obamacare jokes that are going around because Obamacare and the president, they're getting hammered by just about everybody on television.
I love it. Honestly, I love that they're finally, everyone's getting on board with this now. It's great.
And you know why? It's not because all of a sudden some people became more aware of what Obamacare is doing. It's because the way that the website was debuted was a complete disaster.
Yeah.
It was a completely messed up. And how can you not joke about it? I mean, if this was a Republican president, I don't think he'd survive after such a terrible website.
No.
I've never heard of anything like this. And nobody puts together. Well, you do a lot of work on your website at Patriot Action Network. Mm-hmm. And it's based on it's a Ning-based website. But still, you have to know something about setting stuff up, and you have to be able to explain to people who are setting up the code. You have to be able to tell them what you want. And setting up a website is something that professionals do every day.
Well, exactly. And I saw someone had written on a blog this morning. I was, scanning the news stuff, and I found this one guy said something along the lines of, he can get up every morning and he can find out how many people were shot and killed in Chicago the night before.
Right, yeah.
But you can't find out how many people have signed up for Obamacare.
Yeah, and then maybe you heard there's an article at the Wall Street Journal, and they said so far it's been about 50,000 people is all that have signed up on the federal website.
50,000 people. And how many have lost health insurance so far?
5 million.
5 million.
Between 4.5 and 5 million. And I still believe, I think Dick Morris was talking about this, when they start up with the employer mandate, you're going to see even more of this because some employers are not going to be able to afford what is happening without the big changes from Obamacare, without charging their employees more of a percentage of the healthcare costs.
Exactly. That's exactly what's going to happen. And it's going to become difficult for a lot of those people to be able to afford that increase.
Sean,
did you hear about Grassfire, though?
No, go ahead with that.
Our parent company, Grassfire, our employees, all of our employees that had insurance through our Grassfire, through our organization, were all canceled.
Wow.
This last week, cancellations went out. Yeah, apparently, our plan, which was through, I think it was Wellmark. I was getting my insurance through my husband, but all the employees that were getting insurance through them, it was a Blue Cross Blue Shield policy, and I think it was like Wellmark or something like that through them. And yeah, they canceled them. They canceled our entire company.
Yeah, so now the company's going to have to work out some other kind of healthcare policy, and that could end up being much more expensive for everyone.
Well, all of the men will get, prenatal and...
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. You read the stories about the couples in their 60s who have to pay for prenatal coverage.
Yeah, and... maternity and all that stuff. So, it's important that men feel that equality, I think, today.
Well, now they do. I was listening last week to Sean Hannity. He made a great point, and I talked about this on my show before, but Hannity was saying Barack Obama said that the typical family was going to save $2,500 a year on health insurance. Obama said that if you like your doctor, you're going to be able to keep your doctor. And Obama said that if you like your health insurance policy, you're going to be able to keep that, period. Well, none of this has come true. What makes anyone think that anything else we've been assured about by the Obama administration is going to come true as Obamacare continues to blossom? Mm-hmm. It's not. It's not going to happen.
No.
Anyway, so we're going to pick a couple of jokes here. Why don't you go first?
Okay, well, this one is a Jay Leno joke, and it says, the White House now says the Obamacare website will be fixed by the end of November. So if your doctor has only given you 3 weeks to live, sorry, pal.
That's funny.
C'est la vie, you know. What are you going to do? You're up that old creek without a paddle, I guess.
Here's another one from Jay Leno. According to CBS News, only 6 people enrolled in Obamacare on the first day of the rollout. 6. That means more people have walked on the moon than have signed up for Obamacare.
I love that one.
That's really
great.
Funny.
This is a good one about Kathleen Sebelius. This is from Jay Leno. There was some good news today for embattled Health and Human Services Secretary Kathleen Sebelius. Obamacare will cover all of her injuries after the White House throws her under the bus. She is totally covered.
That is good. I've got one from David Letterman. Anybody try to sign up for Obamacare? It's impossible, and everybody's furious. The Republicans are upset about Obamacare because something they tried to stop now won't get started.
Yeah, exactly. If only people would have listened to the Republicans, who are so horrible. They didn't want people to have health care, right?
Right.
When in fact, we just wanted people to understand that they were being schmoozed and bamboozled.
Right.
We all knew that, but no one would listen. And the leftist media always wants to paint us as the bad guys. We're demonized. We're thrown under the bus constantly for just trying to do the right thing for people. And that's really the sad part of all of this.
Yeah, it's like maybe we should go back to 2009 and 2010 and get as many quotes as we can from Republican members of Congress who were warning about all this stuff. Because just about everything that was predicted, and it didn't take, it doesn't take Nostradamus.
Oh, okay.
To know that what was going to happen was not going to work. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't all that, it wasn't like somebody had to sit down with tarot cards to figure it out. It was simply, this is not going to work, and here's why. And the Republicans were warning Americans from Washington, D.C., Tea Party groups and conservative activists all over the internet were warning people that this is going to turn out this way, and now it has.
But everyone heard what the pundits had to say and all of the talking points that came right out of the White House. When you always know that's true because Debbie Wasserman Schultz and Harry Reid and Pelosi and all of these people get together. I call her Pelosi and Nancy Pelosi. Mm-hmm. They all get together, and they make sure that they all have the same talking point. And you can hear them from show to show to show, or if you go to their websites, they all say the same thing. And they all said that the terrible Republicans wanted Americans to suffer, and we didn't want poor people to have insurance and all those kinds of things. And it's all just more of the lies. Okay, here is another one from Jay Leno. Today, there were more problems with the Obamacare website. It seems when you type in your age, it's confusing because it's not clear if they want the age you are right now or the age you'll be when you finally log in.
Oh, that's great. Well, I played a couple of times on my show now. I've played the beginning of the country music. Was it topical? And sure, it's country music, and so it's a little more conservative than liberal. But I thought it was funny. I didn't think it was anything all that radical.
No.
Did you?
No. Certainly wasn't racist, as people were saying.
Oh, God. But that's the one that drove me crazy, is they were saying it was race-based criticism.
Yeah.
They'll throw the race
that's
card.
That's their card. Yeah, that's their card. That's their go-to.
Right. They throw that race card at any time. Now, I wanted to say something. You were talking about Debbie Wasserman Schultz and the arguments that she was giving, she and Nancy Pelosi and the rest of them were giving back in 2009 and 2010 when Republicans were fighting this and saying that, well, the Republicans just want poor people not to have insurance. Well, that's the same thing they're saying today, is that as we find out more and more about Obamacare and we can actually criticize with the events that are happening today, you still have Debbie Wasserman Schultz on television saying, "Oh, that's just the Republicans. They don't want people to they don't want poor people to have insurance." It's such a lie, but that's the only argument she can come up with, because the fact is that these things are happening now.
Well, and the other part that they're all saying, as I said, they're all on the same page. And last night, I don't know if it was Hannity or which one of those shows I was watching, but they sort of cataloged all or highlighted all of the different ones and what they were saying. And so it went from like Carney to Harry Reid to Nancy Pelosi to Debbie Wasserman Schultz, and all of them were saying it's only 5%, and so not that many people were affected by this. Well, 5% of how many people? 300 and some million people?
I love the way that some of these people are on television talking about how the 5% just simply don't matter. There was a guy on Bill Maher who actually said, I'm paraphrasing, since when is legislation directed toward 5%? Meaning, the 5% simply don't matter. If 5% are out, then that's the way it is. And I can't imagine that anybody would think that way if the 5% that were left out were the LGBT community.
Well, exactly. And what about our fellows in Benghazi? I mean, you know, what did she say? What did Hillary Clinton say? She said, well, what difference at this point does it make?
Yeah.
And that was 5 people, right?
What difference does it make? Well, that's what they're saying about 5 million Americans, and that number is going to grow, who have lost their insurance even though they were promised they'd be able to keep it. They're saying, what difference does it make?
Yep.
What difference do those Americans make? Yeah. That's amazing.
Yes,
to me.
we can. Yes, we can has been changed into what difference does it make? That's what they've done. But, you know, and then did you happen to hear anything or see what Bill Clinton said about the Obamacare?
Yeah, and I think I want to play the audio for that because people need to hear that. That is really something. Here's Bill Clinton.
Third problem is for young people mostly, but not all young, who are in the individual market whose incomes are above 400% of the poverty level. They were the ones who heard the promise, if you like what you got, you can keep it. I met a young man this week who has a family, 2 children, bought in the individual marketplace. His policy was canceled and one was substituted for it that doubled his premium. Now, I asked him, I said, same coverage? He said, yeah. And I said, but are your co-pays and deductibles the same? He said, no, they're much, much lower. So he said, in the years when I use health care, I might actually save money. But he said, you know, we're all young and we're all healthy. So I personally believe, even if it takes a change in the law, the president should honor the commitment the federal government made to those people and let them keep what they got.
The president should honor his commitment and let people keep what they had.
Yeah.
That's President Bill Clinton. That's not former President Bush.
Is that the guy who said, I'm telling you, I absolutely did not touch that woman. And then he came back and said, I did have sexual relations with that woman.
Yeah. Well, in this case, he's speaking common sense.
He is speaking common sense.
And I think what's going to happen in Congress, you're going to see a bill passed that probably passes the House and the Senate that allows, there's a new bill, and they're debating it yesterday, that is called the If You Like It, You Can Keep Your Insurance Act.
Yes, I heard about that.
The problem is, I don't think that when this thing, if it gets to President Obama's desk, I don't think he's going to sign it. Mm-hmm. Because it would be an absolute admission that what he did was lie.
Yeah, and the question is, how much does he care at this point? You know, he's on his last term. If he manages to actually leave the White House, that's, you know, I mean, I know there are people that have that question.
Yeah.
But you know, is he going to go ahead and let the entire Democratic Party be thrown under the bus, or does he also believe, like W. Wasserman Schultz and others, that the Democrats are going to be able to run on Obamacare?
I really don't think so.
I heard her on the news yesterday. Absolutely. I believe they're going to be able to run on Obamacare. This is going to be a big part of their platform.
Well, they are going to be able to, in terms of some people who are getting a lot of subsidies and haven't had insurance for many years, they are going to be able to appeal to those people. But I don't think the vast majority of the American people are going to fall for this crap again. I could be wrong. I didn't think the American people were going to fall for it in 2012 and reelect President Obama, but it happened.
Yeah.
Hey, let me give you one more here. Conan O'Brien. Despite all of the website problems, the approval rating for Obamacare has gone up. Unfortunately, I can't give you that exact number because it's listed on the Obamacare website. That's great.
That's funny. There's let's see. Let me go back to it. I saw another one here from Bill. Oh no, here this one's good with Jay Leno. I tried to log on to the Obamacare website today. I don't think I'm doing it right. I lost $300 playing Texas Hold'em.
You mentioned off the air, you talked about Jimmy Fallon. I've got one of his here.
Okay.
He said the White House announced it is bringing in the best and brightest tech experts to fix the glitches on the Obamacare website, which is a great plan. You know what would have been a better plan? Hiring the best and brightest tech experts to make the Obamacare website in the first place.
Exactly.
Oh, man, that's funny.
I think our time is about up, Mr. Jimmy Z.
Yeah, why don't you give my listeners a little taste of what you're doing this weekend, and we'll talk about it next week.
Okay, well, I'm actually participating in a big Tea Party rally up at Lake Havasu. That's in Arizona, right there across the border from California, and very close to Las Vegas, Laughlin, Nevada, Kingman. So if you're in any of those areas and you want to come up and join us, that's on Sunday at the Aquatic Center right there in Lake Havasu, and there's going to be a lot of great people there. One of the greats is going to be former State Senator Russell Pierce, who wrote the SB 1070 over immigration. And several other great patriots are going to be a part of this. So that's on Sunday. It's basically about bringing America back from the brink of socialism is the title of the actual rally. So I will be participating in that. I'm really looking forward to it. A great group of people up that way, and they're all excited and jazzed to really do something as we head into 2014.
About what time does that begin?
1 o'clock to 4 o'clock on Sunday.
Great. Well, anybody who's close to being in that area should drive over there. That's probably going to be really great. And the weather should be really nice that weekend, right?
Oh, perfect up there. It gets up into about the mid-70s, 80s. But it is held at the Aquatic Center inside, so that's really nice, too.
Oh, okay, great. Well, that's what Darla's doing. I'll be watching college football on Saturday and pro football on Sunday. And we'll be back next week around Tuesday. Darla, thank you very much.
Take care, everybody.
And Jimmy Z. And once again, I'm Jimmy Z. The show continues. I want to tell you about this advertisement for Obamacare. And I mean, you're not going to believe this. If you look at it, and I've got the image in my show notes, you can see that this is an ad for Obamacare. And it looks like it is a parody. It looks like something I would put together, or The Onion, or anyone who does satire. You've got a picture of a couple of people, and you've got a moderately attractive girl in blue jeans and a top, and she has her cell phone open. She's obviously sending a text message. And she's looking at the photographer, and she's got a thumbs up like, yeah, baby, and a big smile on her face. The caption of the picture is, got insurance? So they stole that from Got Milk. And they use the same font, in fact. And so they've got a girl with a cell phone sending a text message. And standing beside her with his arm around her is this really scummy-looking guy with a half-grown beard. And he's not even really, I don't think, he's a very good-looking guy. I think in some pictures, I look better than he does. So beneath them, at their feet, is another caption, Susie and Nate, hot to trot. That I have the pill. Now that my health insurance covers the pill, all I have to worry about is getting this guy in bed. Wow, man. This is the federal government. This is the Obama administration advertising Obamacare. Telling women, now you got the pill, you can anyone you want. This is beyond horrendous. And beyond that, I don't know what else to say.
That's just stupid.
Well, yeah, it is. But it's also just off the chart disgusting that the federal government is advertising Obamacare on the basis of having indiscriminate sex with a guy you just met. And I suppose if they're advertising it this way, that there are probably plenty of women who will appreciate this kind of advertising and figure, yeah, okay, now I can get the pill. Oh, by the way, it's not a cell phone with a keyboard that she's holding. She's not sending a text message. That's the impression I got because the ad says, OMG, oh my God. But that's not what she's holding. She's holding an open container of birth control pills, which is worse because she's looking at the camera with her thumb up like, yeah, I got my birth control. Now I can this guy. What a sorry state our country is in, thanks to Barack Obama and the Democrat Party. It's freaking unbelievable. It's absolutely unfreaking believable. It makes me want to write another song. I got my birth control and now I can this guy. I got my birth control and now I can this guy. All right. Okay. I guess we'll go over to side 2 now and talk about more stuff. Boy, I tell you, you won't believe this. You've got to click the link so you can see this ad. It's unfreaking believable. Okay, you click the player for side 2 at thejimmyzshow.com and I'll talk to you there.
The Jimmy Z Show.
I got my birth control and now I can this guy.
Take me home like a river, wash my feet on your shore. Let me go where the wind blows, find my place in heaven's door. We're on a ship of fools. We've broken all the rules. We're slipping through the cracks together. In the window, I can see how this reflection makes me think of all the times I said I love you and then turned away without a blame. I never said goodbye. I could not watch you cry. I